It's the Drinking with Drew Show. The only podcast in Florida hosted by the private investigator of the stars, Drew.
So I'll just come.
Can you get this fucking stranger off my dating lawn?
I like it.
We're sampling drinks from across the world, but mainly from Riverview, Florida. We're giving you the spin on all the news you need to know about. Local, national, maybe even from your bedroom. Yep, that includes sex and whatever else we care to talk about.
I actually have a butthole in my face.
Better than Joe Rogan, but not as good as Jerry Springer. You'll laugh.
Like I was on a safari and I got eaten by a lion. Like, fuck yeah. Like, you get to heaven, you got, like, street cred.
You'll cry.
I miss you, yeah. We still have it here,
You'll want to pry your earballs off. Tune in. Tune out. Don't believe a word we say.
That's so freaking cool, man.
drinkingwithdrew.com with guest Lusty Laura, the neighbor Joe, Darby. Special appearances by J. Fred and Casey. And now, here's Drew. Y'all better listen up now.
All aliens report to the Drinking with Drew studio. All aliens report to the Drinking with Drew studio. All aliens report to the Drinking with Drew studio. Oh my god.
What's going on, everybody? Guess what? We got aliens in the hizzle. So, is this news to everybody? To anyone? Finally, the media is reporting on what we have been shouting for years and years. Why is that? Why is the media all of a sudden giving us attention? I'm very curious about that. Timing is everything in life. So, they're now giving us the camera time. Congress is giving witnesses their attention. All very weird. Okay, I think that's more weird than actual aliens existing. So we're now getting the attention that we've been asking for. I've believed in the existence of otherworldly beings forever. Okay, so to me, this is no big deal. Obviously, to the world, everybody's shocked. Some people don't even care. So to me, whatever happens, happens. But the fact that the government's been keeping this from us for a very long time, I think the people who knew, and it's like, no shit. And the people who don't are like, oh, come on, we still want proof. We still want evidence. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, they're not dragging bodies up on the courthouse and Congress or anything like that, but we'll see. I think there's evidence that is buried, it's classified, and I think it's going to come out. Why are they releasing it? I don't know. Why are they giving us attention? I don't know. But with that being said, we had 3 witnesses that are highly reputable in the system, the governmental system, you should say. They were able to speak to Congress, a bipartisan Congress committee, about what they observed and what proof they have, and they submitted proof outside of that hearing directly to members of Congress, apparently. Whether or not that'll be released, who knows? I think a lot of it's going to be classified. So here's my take on it. For the people who are just kind of waking up to it, maybe you've been in denial for a while. Maybe your religious beliefs do not allow you or have not allowed you to believe in any of these theories, conspiracy theories. Oh my. But if you take it one step at a time to digest it, it kind of all makes sense. So first off, you've been brainwashed since you were a child to believe whatever religion you believe. So if that's the case, re-examine where that came from. Okay. Obviously, whatever religious text that you were brought up on, whether it be the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, Quran, whatever. There's aspects of the Bible, and I have read the Bible, where if you read it the right way, it does actually mention aliens, giants for one. There are many forms of giants that have been mentioned throughout the world, with structures being built for people of very large sizes. But also, if you look at the Bible and you kind of replace the word angel with alien, it also makes more sense. A lot of the observations that were written and described in the Bible are, to me, just misunderstood technology that just never really, they weren't able to describe it. So they were writing on walls and whatever cavemen and women were artistically trying to portray. They did their best. They didn't know what the heck they were looking at, but we won't get too much into that. I don't want to get too much into the historical backbone of it all, but it's there. If you just kind of pay attention, it was there. It's always been there. As far as the government's concerned, they have always been hiding shit, and we won't get into all the conspiracy theories that I feel that they've been involved in hiding and covering up, but there's been a lot, and this is one of them. So are they capable of it? Of course. And I think everybody's kind of suspected that. To what level, that's probably where there's a gray area, no pun intended, for the little gray men. So what you have to look at is what level have the governments, not only the United States, but other governments of the world. And this is kind of important because the United States, okay, our Congress is giving people the attention, our media is now giving people attention about it, but are other nations doing the same? And I don't think they are at the level we are, so why are we doing it and they aren't? I don't know. But if China came out and said, we have an alien, here it is, and it was a kind of like a race to the moon where we wanted to be first, but no, now China wants to be first to say we have an alien. It's not like that. So nobody's really trying to push the envelope there. I think it's just we actually have technology. And what was testified to this week was that they have extraterrestrials, one or two, maybe more, I don't know. But they have actual either bodies, could be living. They wouldn't specify if they were living or not. And for them to come out and say that, it's a big deal. And if it's going to be something to where they're going to provide images or video, who knows? But this has been going on apparently since 1930. Okay, so the Roswell claims, maybe they were true. Area 51, I'm even kind of skeptical on what Area 51 is about. It could be the reverse engineering of all this technology. It could be that, it is also a testing facility for new craft or new military technology, but it could definitely be an area that this was kept. I mean, they wouldn't even admit that Area 51 existed for years. So that all makes sense. So a few months ago, they admitted that they shot down 2 objects. They wouldn't really specify what the objects were. So that's weird. They kind of skirted off on, it was drones that were owned by hobbyists or something. So I don't really buy that. There were never photos or anybody just, just kind of left it be. They didn't really, nobody pressed, the media didn't press them on what it was that they actually shot down. And it was during the China spy balloon time. So kind of got brushed under that rug, but it was really weird. And then you have, let me back up. The Chinese, they were claiming that this technology, this unknown technology that these pilots have seen may have been technology from other countries, which to me makes zero sense because you don't have a spy balloon floating over the United States 2 times in a short period of time if you have the technology of what is being seen. And now I guess we're calling them unidentified aerial phenomenon, and we're not allowed to call them UFOs anymore. Maybe that's a way of giving citizens and the military and pilots a term to use that doesn't give them the quack or your crazy mentality. NASA calls them something different. NASA calls them unidentified anomalous phenomenon. I don't know why they changed that and made it different, but they did. So to me, this isn't a big, huge deal. I mean, obviously, if one landed on my front door, I would think it's a big deal. So I've just kind of felt that they've always been here. They've been ignoring us for years, and humans are dumb enough. If they see one, we're going to fuck with them and we're going to try to shoot them down for some reason. We have that aggression in us. I think we're probably going to find out that if some weirdo scientist in the U.S. government has probably been mixing DNA with these beings, and who knows, if you have beings from the 1930s and they've implanted DNA with humans, we could have a human alien being mix walking around, maybe several. Maybe that's, some of these weirdos we see that are in the news lately. I won't mention any names, Zuckernuts, but you never know. Who knows? Okay, so what they're doing with these beings and technology, I think they're trying to benefit technology-wise. They're trying to benefit with probably creating a better intellectual. Who knows? Okay, so the media to me is suspect in this. I never trust the media. I feel like the media is a branch of the government. I truly think that they're involved in setting the minds of millions of people and trying to establish propaganda and sway the country to do certain things. So in order to do that, you have to have some form of direction from the federal government. I don't think the average reporter is a CIA agent or anything like that, but I think that when they're handed reports to read from the Associated Press, obviously there's been several clips where you see news anchors saying the exact same thing. They're giving scripts that they're having to read. So whether you're in Miami, Florida or San Diego, California, you're getting the same exact news read to you the same exact way. So obviously the media is in uniform with each other. When one is against something, they're all against it. I don't care if it's Fox, CNN, MSN. I watch them all. Okay. I don't just watch one news channel. I try to diversify my input level. And even with, I listen to a lot of talk radio as well. I try to switch that up. I don't just listen to one person or one station, one podcast or one show. I try to mix that up as well. And I think everybody should do that. Even if you don't agree with somebody, listen to what they have to say. You have to kind of know what other people are thinking in order to have a response or an opinion on what they're thinking. And this is similar. It's like some people, they've had their head in the sand for years and they haven't even bothered to think about this. When somebody says, oh, I saw this weird thing in the sky, they get a chuckle, they laugh, they completely brush it off. They don't even give the person the time of day on really expanding or explaining, or, to them, it's a non-story. So now it's becoming, probably to those type of people, it's becoming a half story. They still have setbacks, blocks in their heads as to why they cannot believe this is something that could actually happen. So those are the type of people that probably have to land in their front yard for them to believe what's going on. And, there are atheists out there who aren't the religious type, but they are the facts type of person. They're the scientist that says, give me proof and I'll believe you. And they just don't have that type of proof yet to put in front of their eyeballs for them to say, hey, oh my gosh, it's true. So I don't think these alien beings are violent. I don't think they're out there causing mass destruction. Are they kidnapping babies and sucking their blood? I doubt it. They might be doing that to cows, though, because there are some weird stories about cows and horses being completely drained of their blood, and they're finding them on horse ranches and cow pastures completely surgically altered and professionally drained of their fluids. Let's put it that way. So that's strange. That could be an alien. So who knows? But I think give this a few more months, a couple more years, and we're going to be finding out a lot. Okay. The witnesses that came forward, you have Ryan Graves, a former Navy pilot, David Grosh, a former U.S. intelligence official, and David Fravor, a former Navy commander. Those three have actually started a new organization called Americans for Safe Aerospace. And that is an organization that allows easier reporting for pilots and military personnel to report what they've seen and not get laughed at, not be ostracized by their military supervisors and the federal government. The FAA's had this stupid thing in place for civilians who are traveling on airplanes to report things they've seen out of the windows. But those get flushed down the drain. They never really take those people seriously. This organization is strictly for pilots, people who have a higher clearance level or reputable position to where if they reported this, it's probably going to be taken more seriously. My sighting when I was a kid, I was 14, 15 years old, is never going to be taken seriously. So, however, when I saw what I saw, and then months later, and me and my brother both saw it, we saw it on a TV show, and it was the cigar-shaped dealio that they always describe now in Ancient Aliens and all these freaking shows. We saw the exact same thing. We looked at each other like, oh my God, that's what we saw. So we saw it. We were in Tampa. It was nighttime. We were tripping acid, but still, we saw it. Anywho, these guys are reputable. Okay, so I watched the testimony. I thought it was legit. I don't know why they are given the ability to come out and speak now. I know one of those pilots, he's been on many shows and many UFO conventions talking, and he's been spouting it for years, and he has been ignored. So now he's getting the limelight. So that's interesting, just in and of itself. But the other two I had not heard from. The one, I think it's the David Grush. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I've seen him on some media outlets recently, some underground media outlets recently. But the other guy, David Fravor, I haven't seen him before. But these three guys now, they're speaking out, And, they're even talking about people who have been harmed or possibly even murdered, so they could not speak out. So that's huge. They talked about our tax dollars going to certain areas that, it's kind of a underground black ops situation to where God only knows how many billions of dollars are being hidden from projects or tax approved funding for something and it's going to something else. So that's kind of interesting. I'm curious as to how much money is being spent on whatever project it is or whatever system they have in place for this. People are talking about, oh, this is why JFK was assassinated and he had information on it. Who knows? I personally don't think that presidents are advised of any of this. I think the short-term presidency, 4 and 8 years type of position would prevent the true government. When I say the true government, we all know that the president is a puppet. They say what they're being told to say. I don't care, Republican, Democrat, it is what it is. The president is not in charge. So the people who are actually in charge, I don't think they're going to give the president that type of information. So you hear like Obama and Clinton, and every time somebody gets elected president, they go onto some night show and they're like, so are aliens real? And the talk show assumes that the president has that knowledge, and they giggle and they laugh and some stupid joke is made about it. And then the subject is changed. So I don't put any type of serious thought into a president having any of that information. But I'm curious as to how this will play out. I think that in the future, we're going to get some really rock solid evidence. NASA has a committee now that they've developed with 16 people in charge of an investigative, I don't know if it's a task force per se, but it's similar to that, to where they're trying to go out and find out what kind of information do we need to collect in order to get better reporting. So NASA's putting some effort into this, but again, NASA's technically the government, so we're again brainwashed to agree and believe with whatever NASA says is 100% fact, and I'm not at that level. I don't necessarily trust NASA and what they release, and I won't even talk about the moon landing because I'll get ostracized for that. But did the moon land happen? I don't know. It could have 100%, and it could not have 100%. So I've seen a lot of pros and cons for it. I do think the Earth is round, though. I'll say that. So we have to believe NASA. They send us pictures of outer space. They put these huge telescopes into space and fly them out billions of years, and we get images back in 2 seconds. So, I mean, that all sounds legit to me. But let's keep our ears open and eyes. Get your head out of the freaking sand and, start getting your eyeballs off your phone. And that's the big thing. Everybody's looking at the damn phone now. Look up in the air. Go out one night when it's nice and you can see the stars and look up. Personally, I think they're in the ocean. I don't think they're flying around as much as we think they are. I think they can do both ocean and in the sky, but they're flying at the speeds that we're being told they are and at the different altitudes as fast as they're changing altitudes. I think a lot of the ocean, as we know, is unexplored, so it makes perfect sense for them to be in the ocean. I think that there are weird things going on in the ocean and Antarctica because all those areas, there's a lot of history if you read and do some research about Antarctica having very strange activity up there, and the ocean. I think the ocean's big. I think we're going to find out a lot. So anywho, it's Drew. I probably missed some things that I want to touch on, but we'll talk about it a little bit on my show. Obviously, you can see it's just me in here. No co-host right now. So I'll touch base on it Tuesday when we have our live show, Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you can call in if you want and be a part of the show as always. That's the number. Give me a call and go to drinkingwithdrew.com. You can check out some of our shows there and get some insight to our social medias. We're always on every social: Facebook, Humble Social, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. So check us out and we'll talk to you soon. All right, everybody. This has been another episode of the Drinking with Drew show. Stay tuned for more uploads, more shows. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Humble Social, all the socials. Our live shows are Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to check us out live. You can call into the show and be a part of it. See you soon.